Hi guys, welcome back. This is your Wit and Wisdom lesson for Tuesday, May 12th. We are going to jump right in today. I wanted to show you your video that I added some more pictures to. Thanks to everybody who's been sending in pictures of your time at home with your pets or while you're learning or all the fun things you've been doing when your teachers haven't been able to see you, because we all miss you guys so much and wonder what you all are doing when we're not together. So let me show you our video first thing, and then we will jump right into our lesson. I'll share my screen with you. All right. Okay. Let's skip through that and come back to it. All right. Here's our video, our class video that we have put together, I think. Let's see.
Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We can rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. We safely walk to school without a sound. Well, here we are, no one else. We walk to school all by ourselves. There's dirt on our uniforms from chasing all the ants and worms. We clean up and now it's time to learn. We clean up and now it's time to learn. Numbers, letters, learn to spell, nouns and books and show and tell. Playtime we will throw the ball, then back to class, through the hall. Teacher marks our height against the wall. The teacher marks our height against the wall.
All right. I like watching that. It makes me smile every time to see all of your guys' smiling faces. This is your last chance this week to snap a quick photo of yourself at home with your pets or learning or doing something fun outside or inside, whatever you would like to send me. But send that to myself or one of your teachers, and they will send it to me, and I will add it to our video for our last week of learning next week. All right, so what do we need today to get started? We need, obviously, something to write with and something to write on. So you need paper and a pencil. You're going to need, I think, yes, your Wit and Wisdom workbook today. You need a learning partner to help you talk about your ideas and work your technology, and a quiet space to concentrate. So make sure you're comfortable and you are in a place where you can concentrate and listen and do your best work. If you need any of these things, just hit pause and you can come back when you are ready. I'm going to jump right in though. So today, some things that we are going to talk about. By the end of the lesson, you will be having examined some of the illustrations more closely in Bone Button Borscht. We're going to think about change. So how do the people in the book change from the beginning to the end of the book? You'll be able to explain that to your learning partner when you're done. Identify and explain some examples of that. So not just tell me, yes, they did change, or no, they didn't change, but how. So I want you to find some examples of that in the book. We'll talk about that a little more closely. Our question for this week, we're still talking about how did food nourish the community. So think about what are some ways the community was nourished in Bone Button Borscht. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. So I want you to just think about that again, because now that we've talked about the book a little more closely and we talked about how they all cooperated, you might have some more ideas about how the community was nourished in ways other than just filling up their digestive system so they weren't physically hungry anymore. Okay, share that with your learning partner. And when you're ready to move on, you can start the video again. All right, So we're going to think about what changes do you notice in bone button borscht? Okay, so today we're going to look at the illustrations. Tell your learning partner what is an illustration? If I said look at the illustrations in the book, what am I talking about? Turn and tell your learning partner. If you said illustrations are the drawings in the book, you would be correct. Illustration means drawing. Okay. Oops. All right, let me get us started here for today. Here we go. I'll take myself off
Today,
screen
what
so
we
you can
want to do
focus.
is we want to look closer and think about what we noticed about the cover of the book Bone Button Borscht. And I want you to go back into your brain and think about what we learned about how details and illustrations can help us understand more about the character and the setting. As you're looking at the cover, what do you notice about the beggar? As you're looking at the cover, what do you notice about the townspeople? What do you notice about the colors? Did you notice that the townspeople are kind of colored in grays and almost even muted? How about the beggar? Did you notice that he is in bright colors on that pot, just as big and yellow and bright? On the inside and on the outside it's red, and the buttons are also really bright. Why do you think that the beggar is portrayed that way? I wondered if you said that maybe it's because he's an important character and that's why he's bright, and that the buttons and the pot are an important part of the story. Or maybe you were thinking that the beggar is in bright colors because he's magical and he does something important. Let's continue as we look through the rest of the story to see what a deeper exploration of text and illustrations help us understand about the story. I'm going to go ahead and go off camera and let's keep learning. Today's question says, what does looking at the illustrations and words reveal to us? In the last lesson, we looked closely at the images and words in the first half of the text. Today, we'll look closely at the second half of Bone Button Borscht. We'll start by studying the illustrations, or the pictures. After each image I show you, I want you to pause the video and talk with your learning partner to answer these questions. As we look at this, how does the illustrator depict or show the beggar and the townspeople? Jot a note or talk with your learning partner, or you can even talk out loud to the screen. Did you notice that the beggar is taking the buttons and plopping them into the soup? He looks calm, like he knows what he's doing, or like he's done this before. I also noticed that the townspeople look very curious about what the beggar is doing. Some of them look like they doubt what the beggar says he can do. Let's look at the next illustration. How does the illustrator depict or show the townspeople here? Jot a note or talk with your learning partner, or again, you can talk to the screen. The illustration shows the townspeople all passing each other different vegetables for the soup. It's almost like they're working together. Or what's that word we learned about in our previous lesson? That's right, cooperating. They are cooperating. How does the illustrator depict or show the townspeople on these pages? And what else do we learn about the townspeople? Jot a note or talk with your learning partner, or you can talk to the screen. I noticed the townspeople look very happy. They're eating and they're talking to each other and playing music and dancing. They're sitting at one big long table, and this is very different from the beginning when they wouldn't even come out of their houses. What does the illustration reveal about the townspeople? How might this be different from the beginning of the book? Jot a note, talk with your learning partner, or talk to the screen.
In this illustration, I noticed that the townspeople are all standing together here, waving at the beggar as he leaves. In the beginning, they were all alone in their houses. I also noticed that the shamus is carrying a big jar of bone buttons. They must be planning on making another borscht together. Let's think more about how the illustrations have changed from the beginning of the text to the end of the text. Here's what the town looked like at the beginning of the story. Take a minute to look closely. And here is the end of the text. Take a moment to look closely at the setting now. Here, you can see the beginning and the end together. What is different in the illustration in the beginning versus the end of the text? What do you notice is different between the beginning and the end of the text? Pause the video now and talk with your learning partner or jot down your answer. I noticed that the houses at the beginning were so dark and it looks almost like no one's home. At the end, the lights are all on in the houses and the townspeople are all talking to each other. The houses at the end look a little bit brighter, which makes them look happier. Let's look at one more example of how the images change from the beginning to the end of the book. This time, I want you to really focus on the colors. Colors and images can impact our mood or how we feel about an image. When we look at these next two illustrations, I want you to think about the question, how do the colors in the illustrations make you feel? Here's the first image. How do the colors in this illustration make you feel? For me, it isn't very colorful. They're mostly grays and browns and greens, and it kind of makes me feel sad, lonely, and even cold, almost like the beggar. If you thought something similar, say, me too. Now, let's look at the illustration toward the end of the book. I want you to notice the colors and the mood of the images. How does this illustration make you feel? The bright colors, reds and oranges and greens and blues, make me feel happy, cheerful, and they make me smile. The page at the end is so different from the beginning. The town looked cold and sad in the beginning of the book, but now it looks bright and happy. If you felt something similar, say, me too. We have learned so much from looking at the illustrations in this book. In your journal or on your paper, write down the answer to this question. How do the illustrations in Bone Button Borscht help you understand the characters in the setting? Pause the video now to write how the illustrations help you understand the characters in the setting. Did you write that the illustrations help set the tone, mood, or feeling? If you did, turn around one time. Or did you write that the illustrations help us see how characters and places change? If you did, touch your toes one time. We remembered that illustrations can help us understand the text. Now let's listen to the words, because the words can help us also understand the text too. We're going to take the same approach that we did with the illustrations. We'll listen to some words from the beginning of the book and then some words from the end of the book. I want you to think about how the townspeople have changed from the beginning to the end. Listen closely. The beggar went to another house and knocked. Please help me. I'm hungry and cold. Go away, called a voice from within. Just let me come in for a few minutes even. No, go away. So the beggar moved on from house to house and door to door, but no one would help him. What is wrong with these people, he wondered. What are the townspeople like at the beginning of the book? Pause and talk to your learning partner or
write a note. Remember, you can also talk to the screen. Did you talk about how the townspeople don't seem very friendly and they keep telling the beggar to go away? I also wonder if you talked about how the townspeople don't seem like they're going to help the beggar or each other, really. Now let's listen to a passage from the end of the book. I want you to listen for details that describe the townspeople at the end of the story. Listen as I read these 2 pages. The beggar smiled. Not bad. Who wants to try some? Everyone in the room rushed forward. They snatched cups. They grabbed bowls. Borscht, 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 they chanted. The beggar patiently ladled steaming hot borscht into every bowl and cup. Soon everyone was sipping and slurping borscht. Then the people raised their arms, they rolled their eyes toward heaven, and they cried out, "Delicious! Perfectly delicious! This is the best borscht we've ever tasted! The little beggar did it! He made borscht out of buttons! It's a miracle!" Then, like magic, bread appeared and boiled potatoes and roast chicken and wine. The people ate and they laughed and they ate. Then they brought out accordions and violins, and they sang and they danced for hour after delightful hour. And when the last slurp of borscht was slurped, and the last dance danced, and the last song sung, the shamus invited the beggar to spend the night at his house. The next night, another family took him in, then another and another. What did you hear about the townspeople? Pause the video now to talk with your learning partner or to write down some notes. The book says that they ate and they laughed and they sang and danced. The book says it was delightful. The townspeople sound like they're much happier here at the feast than they were at the beginning. Now let's use what we've learned to recount how the townspeople change over the course of the story. Let's use these sentence stems on the slide. The townspeople change because the details that show this are. Pause the video now to fill in the sentence frames by talking with your learning partner. I wish I could hear what you said. I wrote down the townspeople change because they learn how to cooperate or work together. The details that show this are that they laughed, they're laughing and eating and dancing together at the end of the book. But at the beginning of the book, they didn't even come out of their homes. Great work studying the words in this book too. Thank you for all of your work today, unpacking what illustrations and words can reveal about a text. I'm confident that you can now answer this question. What does looking at the illustrations and words reveal to us?
Okay. They have a lot of really nice
Next time we're together, we're going to...
They have a lot of really nice illustrations in that book. They're very colorful, and I think that you all probably came up with some really great ideas about how the townspeople have changed from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. Okay, let's reflect a little bit on what we have worked on today. When you do your exit ticket today, there'll be some questions in there that will have you fill out to tell your teachers how do you think they changed from the beginning to the end of the story? So how did the illustrations help you understand the changes in the story? So tell your learning partner, how did the illustrations help you understand the changes in the story? I also want you to figure out an example. So remember, you wrote, what was the example? How can you prove that the people changed from the beginning to the end of the story? Think about the passages that we read. Okay, and then I also, for your homework today, I'm going to have you read the fluency passage. This will be the last week that we read this passage. You should be getting really skilled at reading this paragraph fluently. You should be able to use, follow all of the punctuation and phrasing, and I bet that you are able to read it much more smoothly and quickly than you were the first few times that you did it. So practice it 3 to 5 times with someone at home that will listen to you read it before tomorrow. Complete your exit ticket. Stand up and do 10 jumping jacks if you worked your very hardest today. There was a lot of things for you to think about, so your brain got a real good workout today. So your body should as well. Thanks to your learning partner for helping you. And don't forget to read your fluency passage 3 to 5 times. This will be the last week that you do that one. If you have any questions, here's my contact information. You can email me and I will set up a time that we can talk or email back and forth or Zoom so that we can make sure we're all getting the most out of this learning remotely. Even when we are not together, I am still here to help you whenever you need it. So reach out to me anytime. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good afternoon or evening or whatever time it is that you are watching this video and doing your schoolwork today. Nice job, guys.